Right, ICT, please can you start the recording? Welcome everybody, and thank you for attending this hybrid meeting for the Licensing Act 2003 subcommittee on Thursday, the 1st of October 2020. We have members from our legal officer and democratic service present in the Lancastrian. Well, we don't actually, they're downstairs in the committee room. We have the applicant and representative joining us also from committee room 1, and persons who have made relevant representations joining us both remotely and in committee room 1. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Councillor Matthew Lynch and I am the chair of this committee. In the Lancastrian, I have Councillor Mark Clifford, and remotely, I have Councillor Asina Khan on the panel with me today. Please note this is a Teams meeting. It is being recorded and the video stream will also be uploaded to YouTube after the meeting. When speaking, please reference the paragraph number to enable everyone to follow you. Please also mute your microphone and video feed when you are not talking. If the technology fails, then I will adjourn the meeting for a few minutes to try and resolve the issue. Or if this is not possible, a new date and time will be organised. Please can I ask firstly all members to confirm they can hear and speak before the meeting begins. I will call out each member. Councillor Mark Clifford.
Present, Chair.
Councillor Hasina Khan.
Present, sir.
Alex Jackson, Legal Services Team Leader.
Present, Chair.
Nathan Housing, Enforcement Team Leader for Licensing.
Yes, present, Chair.
Ruth Remington, Democratic and Member Services Team Leader.
Present, Chair. And
welcome to our new officer, Matthew Pavlishan. I hope I do get that right.
Yeah, that's right. Present, Chair.
Welcome, Matthew. Finally, can I confirm the name of the applicant and the representative?
Yeah.
Samina Rahman.
We do have a bit of feedback. Can you just repeat that?
Yeah, Samina Rahman.
Ahsan Javed.
Superb, thank you. Other persons are Carol Smith. Carol.
Carol Smith, present, Chair.
Thank you. And Glenn Gelder.
Yes, present, Chair.
Thank you. Apologies. Item number 1, declarations of any interests. Members are reminded of their responsibility to declare any pecuniary interest in respect of matters contained in this agenda. As this is a virtual meeting, if a member has a pecuniary interest, they are requested to leave the call completely rather than just mute their microphone. The member can rejoin the call following the completion of the item in question. Are there any declarations of interest?
None, Chair.
If you do, Asina, no?
None, Chair.
If you do feel there is a declaration of interest, please declare at any time. Item number 2, procedure. The procedure we'll follow today is on page 3 of the agenda papers. I shall now ask the licensing officer whether permission to speak has been requested of any persons on the Regulation 8 notices.
Yeah, there's been no permission to speak, sought, Chair, and so you don't need to make that determination.
Thank you. The licensing officer will begin by outlining his report. We will then have questions from the committee, the applicant and or legal representative, and other persons. The applicant or legal representative will then make their representations, once again followed by the opportunity to ask questions. Other persons will then be asked to make their representations, followed again by the opportunity to ask questions. The applicant or legal representative and the other persons will then have the opportunity to sum up before we go into private session to deliberate. We ask that everyone leave the call and the building at that point, and we will contact you later today to confirm the outcome. Are there any questions on the procedure?
No.
Excellent. As we won't be returning after our deliberations, I will say now that agenda item 4, I have no urgent business to be discussed. We now move on to the application. Item number 3, determination of the application to vary a premises licence, a Wellbank store and off licence. Nathan, please can you present your report?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So, as you said, this is an application to vary a premises licence which has received relevant representations. And it's to request that members determine the application in accordance with the provisions of the Licensing Act 2003. I'm going to move straight on to paragraph 8 of the report, Chair, which is the background of the premises. And the premises has been licensed since the coming into force of the Act in 2005, where there was a brief break in 2019. The most recent premises license was granted on the 1st of May 2019, and the license was transferred into the name of the current premises license holder on the 17th of December 2019. You'll find at Appendix 1, there's a copy of the current premises license, which authorises the sale of alcohol between the following hours, and you'll find those hours which are detailed in the table at paragraph 9. Members will note the existing conditions which are imposed at Annex 2 of the premises licence. Appended to the report at Appendix 2, there's a location plan that shows the immediate surrounding area. There's a little marker to show where the actual premises is, and then obviously you can see a location of other premises which are in the vicinity. So moving to the application at paragraph 12 of the report, on the 18th of August 2020, an application to vary the premises licence was received, and you'll find a copy of that application appended at Appendix 3. The application was advertised in accordance with the regulations, and the application seeks to extend the permitted hours for the sale of alcohol as follows. And it seeks an extension of the authorisations between Monday to Sunday between 8 AM and 10 PM. It also seeks to authorise the hours. The premises is open to the public from 7 AM each day. The applicant isn't seeking to remove any conditions which are currently imposed on the licence, but does offer a number of additional steps in order to promote the objectives, which you'll see within section 16 of the application. Turning then to the representations. During the consultation period, relevant representations were received from the following, and you'll see that there was no representations received from any of the responsible authorities, but there were 10 representations made by other persons. All of those are residents in the local vicinity, and they relate. 4 of those representations relate to the prevention of crime and disorder, and 9 relate to the prevention of public nuisance. Members will see that the relevant representations are appended at Appendix 4, and again you see that they relate to those objectives. A number of the complaints have been made regarding the use of the premises outside of permitted hours, and just to inform the committee, on each occasion these complaints have been made. An investigation has been conducted by the licensing unit, which included a review of the CCTV at the premises, and that hasn't resulted in any evidence which corroborates the complaints. That being said, it's for the committee to decide, based on the available evidence, the truth of these allegations. I'll move on to paragraph 19, which is the conclusions of the report. The decision should be based on the individual merits of the application and the representation. In accordance with the regulations, a decision must be made within 5 working days of the day of the hearing, or the last day of the hearing, whichever is the later. In accordance with section 35, the authority must have, in regard to the representations made, take such steps mentioned below, if any, as it considers appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. And those steps are to modify the conditions of the license, to reject the whole or part of the application. And just to clarify, for this purpose, the conditions of the license are modified if any of them are altered or omitted or any new condition is added. That's the report, Chair, unless there's any questions from the committee. That's everything from me.
Questions from the committee? Nathan, have we received any complaints or in the past regarding this premises?
There have been a number of complaints raised. Within the representations, you'll see that there's actually reference to those complaints. So there is some additional information which was provided on behalf of one of the residents, Carol Smith, which details the complaints which have been received. As stated in the report, that each of these complaints have been investigated, but again, it's down to members to determine what weight to place on those complaints.
Thank you.
I should possibly add, Chair, unless there's any other questions, that the most recent complaint made, and you'll see that there's some additional information within the addendum report relating to the sale of alcohol after hours. An investigation was carried out into that, and there appears to be some conflicting information. It will possibly be better for those those questions to be asked of the applicant and the person who's made representation, but there has been some CCTV recovered, which is available to members, which I assume the applicant will refer to later on.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Nathan. Would Miss Rahman or her representative like to ask any questions of Nathan?
No questions regarding the report, sir.
Okay, thank you. Would anybody from the other persons category like to ask any questions?
No, I'm fine, thank you. No.
Thank you.
No, okay here.
Right, moving on to the applicant and legal representative. Would you like to make your representations regarding the application, please?
Yes, sure, sir. The representations made against us are mainly related to crime and disorder, and the second one is with nuisance. As the committee report has already confirmed, that there hasn't been no incidents regarding since Ms. Rahman has taken over, and they have investigated it, and certainly once the investigation is done, if we were at wrong, we would have been informed to change our ways or some or things like this. Also, just one thing that I want to the committee to know as well: the only complaints made against the shop have been by this specific person, Miss Carol Smith, and I would like to refer back to the evidence provided by Ms. Carol Smith regarding the sale of alcohol after hours. The CCTV footage has already been provided to the licensing authorities. Now, what I would like to confirm here is that the time on the receipt itself is 9:05, which is the bank time, and we are not going to argue about it, that it cannot be wrong. But if you go through the CCTV footage, you can clearly see that Ms. Rahman's husband is, one second. is doing the closing down routine at the same time, because he has a delivery to unload as well, and which is a daily routine that he does before he closes the shop. And I think that being a license holder, they should have a levy of at least 5 to 10 minutes, because as a matter of fact, there has been no solid evidence against them that they've been selling alcohol after hours. It's just this minor one single receipt of over 5 minutes. Now, if you happen to go to supermarkets sometimes, especially the supermarkets that run a strict policy of selling alcohol till 11 o'clock, if you have walked in to the supermarket just a few minutes before 11 o'clock or something, then they are supposed to serve you because you have already walked in. So I would like to say this once again, that there is no way that Mr. Iman or any of our worker is selling alcohol or after the licensed hours. And the other one. And obviously, there's another picture that Ms. Carol Smith has sent, which shows the shop shutter opens at 11:25. Now, the problem is Ms. Rahman has a flat upstairs as well. And when they're doing the closing down routine, what basically they need doing is getting the shop ready for tomorrow. I've also got a picture of the shop here from today, which shows everything, the cleanliness around the shop as well. So the picture taken as 11:25, I would like to confirm you here, the shop itself only has one entry and exit. The only way of coming out of the shop is one way, which is the main entrance. So if somebody is taking pictures, say 1 o'clock, 1 a.m. in the morning, and Mr. Iman and her husband were in the flat upstairs and they were leaving the shop. It's not yours, but you sometimes do.
It's not ours. It's subletted to somebody else. So it's a different company. We've only got the one access because it's a shared access at the back.
Yeah.
So it's not ours whatsoever.
Hello, can I just interrupt a second? We're getting some reports of feedback. So can I just ask everybody that is not speaking to turn off the microphones just while the applicant is giving their report. Thank you. Continue.
Bathroom to use.
So we've only got the access to the back and the front, not storage.
Okay, top now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to confirm, so the picture taken on 11:25 when is only because they use the same entry and exit, which is at the front. So everyone taking a picture of them leaving the property at any time after, say 9 o'clock, it might appear to them that the shop is still serving alcohol, but that is not the case. That is certainly not the case.
So am I right in thinking that you've supplied some footage to us to view?
Yeah, it's been passed over to Carl. Carl came and got it on a pen drive, so it's been uploaded to him and he's had a review of that as well.
And I presume that you would like that played now.
Yeah, that's fine. We have no problem with it.
Daniel, could you just play that for the committee members, please? If you just want to give us a bit of a commentary on what your version of events is here, that might be useful.
So there's another view of the cameras. Did you provide you with the other cameras footage as well? I would request you to can you play that one, because this is just a till. You cannot see what's happening around the shop. And the other footage, you can clearly see that he's unloading the van, is doing his closing routine. Is it possible to play that one, sir?
Yeah, if you just explain which one it is, and we'll be able to show. It's got all of the footage.
Any of the other twos, because you've got three footages. You provide them with the outside one as well?
Yeah. So you can see him moving the car drive to camera as well. Can we now come to it?
No, you didn't send it.
So there's a customer leaving, and obviously he was already in before 9 o'clock. He can't come out and close the shutters in that time while he's left the shop as he's putting things back in the receipt into the till. There he is coming back out to bring everything
Starting
in.
the closing down routine.
Obviously, she's then walked in. To me, it seems like it was a setup. They wanted this to happen in, exchange of let's get them where we can hurt them the most. And obviously, they know what they're doing as they're always watching us from their windows, making us feel horrible and being spying on us at every given time. It seems amusing to somebody that somebody's losing their business.
If you just want to take your time and compose yourself, and then we can continue.
I just find it so heartbreaking that you're in a community and you're helping people and you're trying to help and do an honest living, and somebody just comes in and swans all over you and tries to badmouth you and tries to say that you're doing something wrong when they've exactly what they've just done now is entrap us. We've only been nice and kind to everyone. You can ask her yourself. There was a time when her car wasn't working. I went over and I gave something to go and help her get her car started. I have no malice in my heart for no one. I come to work. I do what I want. I'm actually scared of coming to work because I don't know what abuse I'm going to be having to deal with on a certain day. Yeah, the actual person who came inside the shop to buy that, we've had complaints about, there's loads of drug dealing going on outside the shop. I don't provide the drugs, nor do I deal in anything, but the person she is in contact with and is now cahooting with are known drug dealers and known drug users. They are now using that against me when I'm not doing anything wrong. And she would probably even know that they are doing the drugs. I don't know why she feels that she can be partners with them and go against me for nothing that I've done wrong.
Can I just ask, I appreciate that this is very upsetting. What we're trying to do today is to get to the facts of the matter. It would be most useful for the committee members to make the best decision possible is if we can understand that the footage that we're actually seeing now, what's going on, and if we could just, I know it's very difficult to separate emotion and fact and try and be quite analytical, but just so that we can give a fair hearing, if you could just dictate what your version of events is happening in this footage to the members.
I'm sorry, I'm shaking now. My husband has come, obviously he's come in to close up. He comes in and he closes the shop up. He has his deliveries that he does. Knowing that we have to close at 9 o'clock, he tries to get as much as he can done before the actual time. So then we're not making noise with the shutters, which is another complaint. We've actually got in touch with the landlord and we've ordered the new shutters. It's costing us, it's costing him, it's costing us just to keep the residents happy. We've already gone through that procedure before all this happened. With him now, you can see now he's unloading the van. He can only do that because the back access is a shared access with the flat upstairs. Now there's no lights there. He can't do this by walking, holding crates, which are heavy. I am not expected to park in a dark alley where we can't see anything and come inside in a shared access. It's not a nice thing to do. Even if it was me, even if it's him, it's unfair for that to happen. We've got lights outside which are there for the customers so they don't fall over and they know that they're coming into a nice clean area. It's provided for the customers, it's for us to use as well. Now, as he's unloading, she knew that. I don't know if they're in cahoots and they're ringing each other. The doors are still open, go and do what you want to do. I don't know. I'm not saying anyone's a bad person, but they've proved what they are. This obviously, as you can see, he's not opening the doors for anyone to come in after 9 o'clock, especially not 9:30, 9:45, 10:30, 10 o'clock, 10:30. If somebody walked in while he was about to close the shop, what can he do? If it was me, I would have told her, sorry, I joke that he's busy. You can see he's coming in and out. He's got an agenda that he needs to close the shop up. He's not looked at the time and he's carried on. Even on that occasion, there was another friend of ours that lives across the road. He said, look, it's coming up to 9. Do you mind closing the shutters for me? While there was a customer inside the shop. The friend then closed the shutter for him on the windows, making sure that the shop actually looks closed. This is actually feeling like a personal attack. I don't know what I've ever done to anyone for them to feel the way that they do against me. I have never, ever portrayed any kind of discrimination against anyone at any given time. I've even asked the complainant, what is your problem with me and my shop? And she had nothing to say. Now, I feel as if I've been attacked since the minute that I've walked through the shop. Every time she used to come in the shop, even though she started making complaints before the time, I was not aware. I still treated her nicely and I've never, ever, ever done anything wrong to her. It's up to her, it's her personal choice. To not enter my shop, that's fine. I will still respect her as a person and as a neighbour, because I call all of my neighbours, I don't call them customers. I'm not there just to make money. I was there to make friends and be a part of this community.
Again, Mrs. Rahman, I'd like to deal with the issue, but I do feel that we're getting a tad personal here. And if we could just stick to the operation of the business and the premises, I think that would be useful.
Okay. Also, we would.
Is there any, sorry, go on. Is there any more representations that you wish to make?
Yes, sir. Also, we would like to, represent about the situation with the notices. Like, basically, when we were sending the application to the licensing department for the variation of license, Mr. Rahman's husband, Mr. Ismail, his communication English is just a little bit. So what happened was, when he was on the phone with me, I asked him to personally set up the notice when I tell him to do, because it might take. Yes, sir.
Chair, I appreciate the representations that are being made here, but I don't really think that the publishing of the notice is a matter for the committee. From my understanding, and I mean, it's irrelevant. It doesn't impact on any of the objectives. It's not relevant for the purpose of this hearing. So I appreciate the point that the applicant is trying to make, but I don't think it's necessary to go through the point.
Thank you, Nathan. Is there any further comments to make regarding the application that we've received?
Could I just have some clarification, please? It's Glenn Gelder. Access.
Just bear with me. You'll get the opportunity to ask some questions in a minute. So if you want to ask the clarification, then thank you.
Right, no problems.
If you only can ask
Miss Rahman, is that
Yeah,
all
like I
to
said,
say regarding the application?
Since I've been here, we have been adhering to the rules. We have been closing up. We've had Nathan come over numerous amounts of times. I've even joked to him, do you know what, I'll give you a key and a chair. You can sit here and watch the CCTV as much as you like. You won't find anything because we're trying to do everything on course. We're not doing anything wrong. I think I feel embarrassed the fact that they have to come into the shop so many times. It's embarrassing for me. It's embarrassing for them. They're obviously taking every complaint seriously. They're coming, they're seeing the CCTV. Nothing is there for them to see. They're happy with what they see, what I'm doing. Again, like if I'd done anything wrong, it would have come up. Things would have changed. You know, if this little mishap that's happened when he was busy, like I said, again, it was probably a trap and they tried to get him, you know, last minute way that they could. That's all I can say for this one minor incident that's happened. And it's not like it was over 10:30 or 11:30 or doing it really, really late. It was literally minutes away from him trying to get his stuff out of the van, close the shop up.
Okay, thank you. Questions from the subcommittee I'll take in a second. I've just got a couple of questions myself. You refer to the shutters at the front of the premises. Can you just clarify for the committee, the shutters in question, do they cover the whole shop window and door, or are there two separate shutters?
There's three separate shutters, so there's one for each window. So there's three going across. One's going across one window, one's going through the other, and there was a door access one. Now, this shop has been there for over 30 years. These shutters are very.
Mrs. Rahman, I think you've answered my question. Thank you. Can I just clarify? So in the footage that we've just seen, you just referred to three shutters, two covering the windows, one covering the door. At that time there, are the whole three shutters open? I can see he's ducking down. I presume that the door shutter I can see is closing now. But are the two window shutters closed?
The window shutters sometimes on some occasions close before 9 o'clock. Sometimes at 9 o'clock, inside just after. As soon as it gets a bit quiet, we go outside and close them.
Okay, thank you. And now I just want to go on to the CCTV time. Is that timestamp that is on that, is the date and timestamp accurate?
The date on there is accurate. The timing is off, which Carl noticed the other day when he came in. He did say, look, the timing is off because it's going on. I don't know. I'm not tech savvy. I don't know. I've never touched the cameras or anything. I can just about open it on my phone and check what's going on.
Thank you. I'm just going to come away from the process slightly. Nathan, can you just confirm how far off the timestamp is?
Yeah, well, if it's slightly conflicting, Chair, because if you view if Dan is able to switch over onto the photograph which has been provided. This is a picture of two contactless machines. Now, obviously, you can see the time is different on each of those. From what I'd understood, the thing which was being said was that the time on the contactless machine was incorrect and the time on the CCTV was the correct time, in which case the sale would have been made before 9 o'clock. Now, that now seems like it isn't the case. So I don't know which account is correct now. Obviously, you can see there is a discrepancy between the two times there. From what I understood, one of them was a new machine and one of them was an old machine, and the time was incorrect on that. So from what I'd understood, the receipt which has been provided by Ms. Smith is actually on the old timing, and that's why it shows the wrong timing. So perhaps it's for the applicant to explain the discrepancy there and account for which is the correct time.
Right. So Miss Rahman, I'm looking at two machines here. One that states it's 1516 and one that's 1527. So which is the newest machine of those two?
The newest one, the one that says payment sense on there.
Just repeat that, please.
One that says payment sense.
Right. So the payment sense one says 1516. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Any questions from the committee? Councillor Mark Clifford.
Yes, I'm just trying to get this in my head. So the payment sense one. So we've got a receipt showing that it was after 9 o'clock. Now, are you saying it is the payment sense machine looking at this photograph I am looking at, not the other machine?
Not the other machine. Now, what happened was we've had so many problems with the machines. They freeze, they start going off on their own. We've had times where we've had to turn them off completely. So on the day that Carl came over, we actually having everything fitted new. So one was obviously getting fitted as he was there, so we had to stop everything and start new. The chap that took the picture, he said, look, I can confirm that sometimes when the systems are working, some go overdrive, some don't. So that's the problem that we've been having. I said to him, I don't know anything. Like I said, I'm running a shop. My job is to serve the customers and just carry on. I don't know how to get into a machine and do things to it. For me, I ring them up and say, this is a problem. Can you sort it out for me, please?
Thank you.
Any further questions from the committee? No. Right, I'll go. Is there any questions from, is it Mrs. Carol Smith or is it Miss or?
No questions.
No questions. Mr. Gelder?
Yeah, the line crackled at a point that I couldn't quite understand it. I heard initially about access, the only access to the property was through one door at the front, and there was no other access to the property.
No, I think what was said was that there was shared access to the rear and there was no lights, is my recollection of what was stated. I'm sure that can be clarified.
Right. One thing that seems to be lost in all this is the nuisance factor, in the fact that what would happen if the licence was extended would be what we've had in the past, whereby people congregate over the road from our properties, sit on the wall, drinking, you get the litter, the noise, etc. And I think it will become a magnet after the current hours of 9 o'clock for these people. And then that then causes a problem whereby we're calling the police to deal with this. And it just seems that at the moment it's a nuisance that we've not got, but it will become a magnet for people to come from all over and use it.
Have you got a question, Miss? Have you got a question that you would like to ask? I think you're straying into statement territory.
Right. Well, I just feel that it's not really relevantly raising the point that concerns quite a few people, which is the nuisance value, and it's that nuisance value. We don't have any problem with the person making a living, but it's like the nuisance value that if the shop has extended hours, it will then attract people from all over, go down there because it's open till X hour, and you'll just then get problems that we've not got at the minute and we don't want, because it is a residential area, and we just don't want the hassle of people drinking and carrying on over the road from our properties. You wouldn't want it, and we don't want it.
Mrs. Ratman, I think Mr. Gelder is referring to nuisance outside of the shop.
I completely understand, but as any person who's selling anything, after the person has left that establishment, I can say that, right, okay, I'll tell them to be quiet, or I'll tell them to, go home or whatever. They're going to do what they want to do. There's Asda up the road. People come out of Asda and sit around wherever. There's a pub down the road. People come out making noise, sitting down wherever. Are we going to, is it my job to stop everybody making a noise? I can't control that.
Right, thank you.
I'm not saying you can, because you've
through the chair, please. Mr. Gelder, Mr. Gelder, yeah. Mr. Gelder. Yeah. Can I ask that you make all comments through the chair? I think what I don't want to get into is a discussion between two parties. Now, I've give you a bit of leeway for your first question. Now, have you got an actual question to ask, or is it more again of something later for summing up?
I'll save it for summing up, because it is more of a statement, right, isn't it?
Okay, thank you. Right. Can I ask for representations from Well, we don't have any representations for responsible authorities. So we'll scratch that. Right, can I ask for representations firstly from Miss Carol Smith?
Afternoon, Chair.
Good afternoon.
I have no objections to the opening at 8 o'clock, which was stated in the letter. I put forward this complaint because I've had numerous altercations with Sameem's husband for no reason at all. This was due to parking, where he called me a racist and he spat at me in another instance. I have no objections at all. I've helped the lady with, I've taken some taping for the COVID. The problem is the shutters, the sale of alcohol till 10 o'clock, and also it's not just me who I am representing Wellbank Lane. I did the collection of the letters, and I got over 14, and like 4 of them was invalid for I don't know what reasons why, but people other than myself, which I think the shop is kind of blaming me for this, but obviously there is other people who are complaining. Number 48, who lives next door to him, says the shutters are waking him up at night. He goes to bed early. Obviously, I'm not objecting to the livelihood, but the extra hour to Wellbank Lane, it is a quiet street. When the shop closes at 9, it is nice because it goes quiet. There is cars pulling up, banging doors, music. Yeah, there is. Nothing can be done about that. Yeah, they're going into the shop, but if we can prohibit that from going in the shop till 10 o'clock, then that would be great. I live right on the corner to them. They have a problem with parking. They have a go at neighbours in the street. They put signs on the door to tell them not to park. This is the altercation with Sam's husband, where he came banging at my door in the middle of the night. But I have no objection to the 8 o'clock opening. The 9 o'clock is fine on a residential area. There's lots of people disagree other than myself, and basically the license, they got the shop in November. They only got the license on the 17th of December 2019. Where was the license? Who had the license from that time? I was wanting to ask as well. Basically, that's it. People have seen people go in, lift the shutters up, other than myself. The receipt was not, I did not provoke it. I did not ask for the receipt. Liam at the shop at the flat across came across because I had done these letters. I've been to every residence knocking on the door. There's people with Sam at the moment who live opposite, probably to object, but it's they live across the road as well. But it's just the nuisance, the police, the noise, the crime, all that can be prevented if it shuts at 9 o'clock. In my eyes, that's what I think. There is a lot of drug dealing on Wellbank Lane. I'm not saying it is from the shop. I have never said that it's from the shop. The crime and disorder, there's burglary, prevention of nuisance, traffic, taxis, and that's the risk of public violence and increasing the area of sale of alcohol for that extra time. It's just ridiculous. They did put the fake notice in the window open to 11 o'clock, but the council didn't know about that, but that's not valid, as Nathan has just said. But the flat is not theirs, which the solicitor should have known about. That's nothing to do with the shop. The yard at the back is a shared yard, but there is an entrance to the back because there's fridges and freezers in the yard. I have no problem with the people. They have a problem with me. Like I say, the police have been logged and informed of Sam's husband's attack on me, and that's as far as my complaint goes. It's just not. I just feel that they're targeting myself when there's over 15 residents in the street that actually object to the letters, and you've got the letters in front of yourselves. It's not just me. I am here representing the street because I was asked to, because everybody else is working, and that's it. Thanks, Chair. Thanks. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Mr. Gelder, would you like to make any representations?
Thank you for that. We know that there's a pub at the top of the hill. That's not directly opposite us, and it doesn't cause us any problems. We know there's an Asda at the bottom of Pall Mall that's open 24 hours a day. That doesn't cause us any problems on Wellbank Lane. At this present moment in time, we don't have that much antisocial behaviour. But what I can see happening is, if the licence is extended, people will come from far and wide, on foot, whatever, and they will buy it, they will sit over the road. I know the shopkeeper can't say, now take that home and drink it at home, please, but people will do what they want. Unfortunately, in society, there's a low wall opposite our properties, and they will sit on it, just like when the fire station was there, just like when the previous licence holder had it till 10 o'clock at night. You get people buying stuff at 10 to 10, going and sitting on that wall, drinking, getting louder, and then when they move on, the rubbish is there, the cans are there, the bottles, and it's something we do not have at the moment. But I feel with the extension of the licence, it will attract this sort of antisocial behaviour. And at the end of the day, it is something in society where we do have antisocial behaviour. And if we can prevent it and stop something happening, attracting it, a magnet that the shop is open a lot longer than any shops in the area, it will for me avoid the antisocial behaviour, which is what we do not want. And as I say, that is my summing up of it. There are other problems, the cars pulling up and the little packages being passed, but that's you can't really police that, because they'll just stop dealing on Wellbank Lane and they'll go down Gloucester Road and they'll just phone and meet wherever. The drug dealing, it happens. And yeah, unfortunately, it does happen outside the shop quite a bit, which is nothing to do with the shop owner. But obviously, as I say, what we are concerned with is the length of the licence, which, if someone's not got their provisions by 9 o'clock, then let them go down to the Asda where it's open 24 hours. And we don't want the associated with it. People sat on the walls opposite, leaving litter, getting rowdy. We then have to call the police, who, to be bluntly honest, they're overworked at the moment anyway, so they don't want extra work that they currently don't have at the minute. So as I see the wider problem, an extension in the licence will just attract a lot of antisocial behaviour, and that's all I've got to say, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Gelder. Right, I'm going to open it to questions from the committee first. If you could just, members of the committee, if you could just firstly direct any questions to Carol Smith. Councillor Clifford.
Yes, Carol. You say you've been round to the residents. To the best of your knowledge, have these residents contacted Chorley Council before to complain about any of these issues? Have they contacted the police? And did you supply them with any form of, say, a covering letter? And do you feel you may have led them, or were they happy to see you and tell you all about the same issues that you were saying?
No, I approached, I knocked on people's doors, and I informed them. Originally, when the licence went up was till 11 o'clock. So I informed people that the shop was opening until 11 o'clock, which everybody really objected to. But in the meantime, the revised one came into fact that it was open to 10 o'clock. I knocked on everybody's door. Everybody disagreed with the 11 o'clock, and then I had to go around again to tell them that it was 10 o'clock, which obviously they saw, which was on the door, as they had to advertise that. But all I said to the residents was that the 4 points that Nathan had advised me about that had to be put forward on the letters, and how that would impact the residents. I've not coaxed anybody into any writing of the letters. I've written my own, and everybody else has written their own. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for answering that.
Mrs. Smith, I've got a copy of your letter here in front of me, received on the 4th of September. In one of the paragraphs, it says the shop stayed open until well after 10:30 at night, selling alcohol and having no care of the licensing hours that are in place. Mrs. Smith, have you gained, obviously you must have witnessed this, have you gained any evidence that has been provided to the council to confirm this?
No. I informed Nathan, the licensing department, each time. As I live next door, I can see what's going on. I can hear the shutters going up. People down at number 60, he has actually seen people going in, lifting the shutters up. It's not just me. I can't confirm that they have bought alcohol. I have no idea, but apparently the CCTV footage shows nothing. But obviously there's a person in that shop. What they're buying, they come out with 3 bags, go to the car and drive off. I can't say to them, can I stop and see what's in your bag? But I have seen it with my own eyes, and I wouldn't lie. And obviously other people in the street have seen it, not just me. Thank you.
Right. Okay. I mean, just reading your statement again, it does specifically say 10:30 at night selling alcohol. But from what you've just said then, I think it's, am I right in saying that you can't confirm that they're selling alcohol?
No, I don't know what's in the bag. Sorry, no, I don't know what's in the bags. I was hoping that the CCTV footage, when I told Nathan about it, he would be able to provide that information, but unfortunately they didn't see the person in there, so I don't know why they haven't seen the person in there at that time of night, when obviously they should have the CCTV coverage of that time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Gelder, you've referred to a couple of things in your representation, one of being a concern over litter. Could I ask you, are there any litter bins in the vicinity of the premises?
There's one outside the premise. There used to be 2 further litter bins going from Gloucester Road towards the junction of traffic lights at Pall Mall that were on lampposts, but they've disappeared. But yeah, there is one opposite the shop. There's one at the end of Claremont. But what what you tend to find with these is if you look at it, some people put their domestic waste in there as well, so they get full quite quickly.
And am I right in thinking that these are Chorley Council? The bin outside the shop is a Chorley Council provided litter bin.
It is a black bin, yes, a square one, yeah.
So it's not the responsibility of the premises holder?
No.
Right, okay, thank you. Nathan, I believe you want to come in.
It was just a very quick clarification, if possible, Chair. And it was in relation to something that Ms. Smith said. At the times that the CCTV has been reviewed, there has been individuals observed in the shop. It's just simply that alcohol hasn't been observed being retailed. So, yeah, I'm not disputing the fact that the people were in the shop. It's simply that alcohol hasn't been retailed, which is obviously the allegation. So it was just a simple clarification.
Thank you, Nathan. Right. Just bear with me a second and find my agenda page again. So would Mrs. Rahman or her representative wish to ask any questions?
Yes, sir. I would like to ask Ms. Smith, the day she got hold of that receipt, does she have a date for that, please?
Yeah, if I'm honest.
If it helps, Mrs. Smith, the date on the receipt is the 17th of September.
Yeah, well, that's when they'll have sent it. They sent it me that night. Yeah. And I had not spoke to them previously about it. That's totally my word. It wasn't set up. I never knew that they were doing that.
So,
Any further questions?
Yes, Ms. Smith just said that she hasn't met them before all this. Just wanted to ask how they got her number.
How they got my number?
You just said you met them before. So just a quick
Through
question.
the chair, please. Can you direct your comments through the chair, please?
Sorry, Sheila, I just wanted to clarify the question. Ms. Smith just said she hasn't met them before. I just wanted to ask her how did they get her number? Because she said that they messaged her the image of the receipt. I just wanted to ask how did they get her number, please?
Because they're my sorry, Chad, they're my neighbours. I told them that their letter to the council was invalid, and they wanted to keep me informed of what was going on, and vice versa, because apparently Liam has also had a lot of trouble with the shop owner. That's all. I don't give my telephone number to random people. It's just the fact that he wanted to know what was going on. I never gave it him for that reason. That's all. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Yes, sir. I would also like to ask Ms. Smith, would it be all right to say that she's been approaching people since Mr. Ismail has put a so-called fake notice. Has she been approaching people herself, regarding the application? I would just like her to confirm that. Thank you.
Hi, Chair. I went to every resident when the fake application was put in the window. I knocked on everybody's door from number 1 to number 60, also Gloucester Road, advising them that the shop was opening until 11 o'clock, and that is why. Thank you, Chair.
Is
Chair,
that your final question?
No, I'd just like to ask the question of, we've been welcoming, we've, obviously you've helped me out one time. I've always been nice to you, I've always done everything to Miss Smith. If that notice went up at any given time, like I said, I treat my customers, not as customers, as neighbours. Why didn't you come and speak to me and ask me what's going on? Instead of going around, and it feels you are discriminating me. You should have come over and said, you put a notice up, can you please tell me what's going on? And just ask.
I think we're having a conversation rather than a debate here. So the question is, did you, Mrs. Smith, once you saw the notice, did you go and try and communicate with the premises?
No, afternoon, Chair. No, I saw the notice.
Oh, sorry, that'll be me.
I saw the notice. I asked the young girl who lives down the street what this was regarding, and she said that this was regarding opening till 11 o'clock at night. And then I took it on myself because obviously I live next door to the shop. 11 o'clock at night is just not right. Every shop owner's open till 10, yeah. But they put up the notice till 11 and everybody disagreed with this. But then again, I had to go around again when the correct notice was enforced.
Chair, if I could just interject, I think we really need to question the relevancy of this conversation. I think it's fairly clear that regardless of how those representations have been found, they have been made and they are relevant representations. So obviously the members should be making the decision based on those reps and any amplification of those representations, and shouldn't really be considering how those representations have come to be.
Thank you, Nathan. Right, is there any further questions?
Could I just raise a point, Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
About the notice that went up, it wasn't written on the back of a serial packet. It looked an official notice. From all intents and purposes, it looked an official notice. So therefore, if it was an official notice, then you can understand why Carol went round and did all the legwork, having done the legwork before, because we've seen what we deem to be an official notice. But had it been written on the back of the cornflake packet, then obviously it would have been different, whereby Carol might have gone in the shop and said, "Here, what's all this about?" But because it looked,
I think the members have heard quite a lot of information about this notice. I am sure they will make their own mind up in deliberation about the relevancy of that. What I am going to do, I'm just going to ask, I'm just going to go back to Mrs. Smith just to ask one final question. I do apologise for not asking it at the appropriate time. You've referred to noise from the shutters. Have you undertaken any audio recording of the shutters just to give a feeling of how loud how much noise that they generate for the members of the committee?
No, Chair, I haven't. Like they think I am watching the shop all the time, but I'm not. I'm sat on my sofa and you can hear the shutters bang on the floor. I wish Dennis next door was here to provide that information, because he is in his front bedroom, and obviously I'm not sure if you have to bang the shutters down so hard. I have no idea. I have no idea, but that is the incidence. It's just the noise. And if the shop owners just said then that they're invested in new shutters, well, that's a good thing for the community, which I wish she would have said something about that before, but obviously, as we're not speaking because she thinks I'm the only one targeting the shop, I'm not. It's other people as well. But I have no audio, but it's just the say-so of myself. Thank you, Chair.
Right. In that case, I'm going to move on and allow yourself and Mr. Gelder to briefly summarise the key points of the objection to the application.
Have I to start first, Chair? Yeah.
Yeah, you go.
Yes, please.
Yeah. My reasons are as follows. As I live nearest to the shop and I've been complaining of the opening hours since November 2019, I just want to do with the shops, supermarkets, there's one down the road. My objection is that we already have a problem with crime and disorder relating to drugs every day that goes on. This is nothing to do with the shop, may I say, but obviously when the shop is open until 10 o'clock, we'll enforce more people congregating in front of the shop. The prevention of nuisance is the traffic, the noise, the footfall. I feel that late night opening will affect the working lives of residents that will suffer from the noise and the antisocial behaviour. An increase of traffic is the parking as residents is caused, parking and vehicles with problems, damage to people's property. Also, the air conditioning unit at the side of the property. This also is a concern for residents on Gloucester, is it Gloucester? Pardon? On Howard Road. Two of the residents, you have letters from them. One of the residents has children. The noise from the fridge is also till 10 o'clock will keep them awake. You have evidence of that. And that basically is, I have no problem open at 8 o'clock. The shop opens at 7 at the moment. No objection to that. It's just the 10 o'clock closing will prevent, it will deem more people to footfall into the shop, cause more noise, and more noise and nuisance. That is all I have to say. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Gelder.
Thank you. Likewise, the noise from the shutters, you can hear them from somewhere because they are heavy metal shutters, but as has been stated, they're due to be replaced. That really will be a benefit. Years ago, we had a community bobby, PC O'Brien, who we dealt with, and he actually said that at that time there's quite a lot of nuisance from the shop, and that was when it opened till 10 o'clock. And again, the nuisance was when they sat on the old fire station wall, the litter, the antisocial behaviour, etc. And it was just something that had been complained about in the past, and it's just we do not want to go back to those days. Equally, you've got the footfall, you've got the cars pulling up, doors slamming. The new houses that are opposite the shop that go down Gloucester Road and on Wellbank Lane, we've actually got young families in those as well. So obviously you've got the children that might get woke up by the noise. And as it stands at the minute, it is a pretty nice area to be in at the minute. And we don't really want the additional threat of people coming from far and wide because they can get drink and alcohol, etc., till 10 o'clock. there are shops elsewhere within walking distance. You've got the One Stop on Brindle Street, you've got the Co-op down on Moore Road, which currently service the area quite adequately. And I just feel that bringing it to our doorstep is just a magnet that we've had in the past and we've had problems with, which, as I've said, PC O'Brien, he got on board with us and worked and got rid of it, basically. And we just don't want to go back to those days again. And that's it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Could I ask the applicant or her representative to sum up if they wish?
So we believe we should be allowed to open till 10. And there is very unlikely chances of any nuisance there. Reason being that since we've been opening till 9, there hasn't been no serious nuisance complaint on record. No people, no such serious crime reports till 9 p.m. And it is very unlikely that extending it to just by 1 hour, considering that we are going through COVID times and businesses are already coming down. I think we should be allowed to open till 10, and it is very unlikely for any nuisance or any such complaint to be happen by just extending 1 hour. Before, also I would like to put this on record here that we just want to confirm that this whole representation made against us has been nothing but based on personal agenda, because as Ms. Smith also confirmed on record here that she personally approached all the neighbors, whereas we have done everything by the books for the application. We put the notice there, the proper notice there. The licensing has no problem with the way the application was sent. So considering that Ms. Smith personally approached all the neighbors and been saying things about the shop and stuff, I think we should be allowed to open till 10 o'clock. And other than this, the people and the shop neighbors who do not have cars, they would have to walk to Asda store to get the groceries and milk and everyday stuff as well. So we just don't only sell alcohol or tobacco there. We sell shop things that the community needs on daily basis as well. So I think this should be considered as well. Thank you so much, sir. I don't have anything further to say.
Thank you. Right, so we will go to the decision-making process. Can I ask everybody not part of that to leave the call, and obviously those that need to exit the building? Thank you, and thank you for your attendance today.
Thank you.